In the Gracefield house, orphans live happy and peaceful lives under the guidance of Isabella, who the kids call Mama. All the kids see each other as siblings. They also have identifying numbers tattooed on their necks. Isabella makes sure to give them a strict education, including classes on all sorts of topics. The brightest students in the class are Emma, Norman, and Ray. The orphanage is surrounded by a beautiful meadow where they can play freely. However, the most important rule is that they must never cross the fence. The kids are destined to leave the orphanage to join a family when they're ready. Tonight it's Connie's adoption night, and she leaves the orphanage after saying goodbye to everyone. Emma and Norman wonder if Connie will ever write to them because the kids that leave always promise they will, but to this day they haven't received a single letter. At that moment they find Connie's favorite bunny, which is shocking because she doesn't go anywhere without it. Ray points out that the lights at the gate are still on, so they have time to return the toy if they hurry. Emma and Norman gather courage and cross the gate, where they find the street empty except for a truck. The kids look inside and are horrified when they find Connie's body with a flower through her chest. Before they can process this, they hear someone approaching, so they hurry to hide under the truck. Then the kids watch in horror how some huge monsters stop in front of the vehicle and put Connie in a capsule while chatting about the fact this particular farm has the best human meat quality, which is usually saved for elite demons. At that moment Isabella arrives and promises to bring the highest scoring children next time. Suddenly the monsters smell something and begin checking around for spies, but when they look under the truck, they only find the bunny. They give it to Isabella, who immediately gets suspicious. Meanwhile Norman and Emma are running back through the meadow, but Emma has to stop to cry because she can't take it anymore. She can't believe Mama can be evil and that her orphanage is a human farm, although it does explain the tattoos and the lack of letters. Norman comforts her and says they should run away, but Emma will only accept if they bring everyone else too. The next day, Emma and Norman discuss their options. Norman thinks they should make a proper escape plan but not tell the others until they're done, so they start by investigating the area. Unfortunately, when they cross the fence, they discover there's a very tall wall surrounding the meadow. It's impossible for them to jump across it, so they agree they'll have to get a rope and return later. Meanwhile the kids pause their game because one girl is missing. Isabella quickly takes out her watch and walks into the forest, just to come back in seconds with the girl in her arms. This makes Emma and Norma realize that Isabella must have put a tracker on them when they were babies, and she can tell where all the kids are using her watch. If they want to escape, they'll need to do something about that first. The next day, Emma and Norman hide some rope in a tree and get caught red-handed by Ray. Norman immediately tells him everything, and to their surprise, Ray has no trouble believing it. In fact, he wants to help. Afterward they do research in the library and discover a bunch of books have an owl stamp with a circle representing Morse code. Decoding it reveals someone named Minerva knows the truth too and urges them to run. Later in the evening, Isabella introduces the kids to her new assistant Krona. This causes the kids to worry because with another guarding pair of eyes in the house, it'll be harder for them to escape. When the ladies are alone, Isabella gives Krona the kids' profile to memorize and reveals she knows the kids are aware of the truth, however she won't let them escape. The next day, the trio organizes a special game of tag as a sneaky way to teach the other children how to run and hide for their future escape. However, Krona hears them and joins the game, managing to catch every single kid except for Norman. Later the trio discusses this situation, and Norman comes to the conclusion there must be a spy among the children that is telling Isabella about their every move. It has to be someone older, so in order to find out, they decide to tell Dawn and Gilda the truth to test the theory. Dawn has trouble believing it and frustratedly hits Ray, but Gilda quickly accepts because she knows Emma loves Mama too much to lie about this. Then Norman tells Dawn and Gilda different locations of the rope they stole, and in the middle of the night, a mysterious hand pushes a note under Isabella's door telling her about it. In the morning, the kids confirm Isabella took away the rope. Emma and Ray are happy the trick worked, but Norman shocks them when he reveals that the trap had been for Ray, who had the real rope location while Norman gave the other two a fake one. Ray finally admits that he discovered the truth a long time ago and confronted Isabella about it, who offered a deal. If he spied for her, she would delay his adoption. Ray accepted because he knew he couldn't escape alone, but he never stopped trying to find another solution. He was the one that left the bunny to make his friends find out the truth too. Emma and Norman declare they still trust him and that Ray will work as a double spy for the team. Afterward, they hide the ropes in Ray's secret hole in the floor, where he also keeps gas cans and the gadget he made to neutralize the trackers. Later Ray tells Isabella that the kids will try to poison her food, which is a lie to keep her distracted. Isabella is thankful, but she still announces Ray will be adopted in a few months. The next day, the 5 kids go to the wall to test the rope only for Krona to find them red-handed. However, instead of telling Isabella, she says she wants to help, showing them her chip scar. If any kid escapes, her chip will electrocute her, meaning she doesn't have any freedom either. She used to be an orphanage kid too, and now she wants to remove Isabella and become the new mama to have a better life, so she's willing to help the kids to achieve it. When night falls, the kids go to Krona's room, where she tells them the story of what truly is happening in the outside world. Over 1,000 years ago, humankind was at war with a demon species. After lots of bloodthirsty fighting, Both sides decided to make a deal called the Promise, under which they agreed to live in their own separate worlds. The demons promised not to bother the humans anymore, but in exchange, the humans had to offer some children for them to eat. That's why some humans are now living in the demon world, managing human breeding farms under the disguise of orphanages. The kids are raised with good education because eating intelligent humans prevents the demons from turning into mindless monsters. The kids ask about the tracker, and Krona confirms it's on their ears. When the kids don't show worry over it, she realizes they found a way to block them, and promises to find out how. The next day, while the children are outside, Krona begins looking around the kids' bedroom for the tracker blocker. Gilda sees her through the window and warns the others, so they move the blocker into a pig plushie that Krona already checked. Eventually Krona finds the hole and gets suspicious to see it empty, so she tries checking the room again. When Krona's about to open the piggy, she's suddenly interrupted by Isabella, who brings a letter informing Krona she's been transferred to another plant to be mama there. Krona is suspicious, so before leaving, she leaves a special pen behind for the kids. When she makes it to the gate, Krona meets the supervisor, known as Grandmother, and tells her about what's going on at the orphanage. However, Grandmother informs her Isabella is the best at the job and she won't let the kids escape. Then Grandmother allows a demon to kill Krona. Sometime later, Emma and Norman go to the wall while Ray distracts Isabella. However, Isabella isn't tricked and says she was the one to get rid of Krona before locking Ray up in a room. While Don helps Ray come out, Isabella goes to the wall and gives Norman and Emma a speech about how she's given them everything they needed and that they shouldn't resist the inevitable. Suddenly Emma tackles Isabella so Norman can escape, but Isabella easily overpowers her and breaks Emma's leg to stop her. Norman refuses to leave without her, and Isabella uses the chance to announce Norman has been adopted, so tomorrow it's his last day in the orphanage. When night falls, the kids gather to discuss how to help Norman, but Norman tells them not to bother, because he'll happily be a sacrifice if that means protecting the others. Ray uses the opportunity to explain he knows the truth because unlike the average kid, he hasn't forgotten his first few years. Since he left his mother's womb, he saw the headquarters, the demons, and lots of other babies. Afterward, Norman gets his things ready and finds the mysterious pen in his drawer. The next day, Norman climbs the wall with the rope to gather some information. However, he's devastated to see the meadow is surrounded by a cliff. He returns to the orphanage and gives his friends a drawing of the area, telling them to find a bridge to cross the gap. In the evening, Norman says goodbye to all the kids, causing Emma to have a breakdown when she fails to stop him. Isabella then takes Norman through the gate, and the kid is surprised to see a man named Peter instead of a monster. Peter explains he leads the operation to feed the monsters and offers all the gritty details, but Norman doesn't allow him to scare him because he's at peace with his decision. At that moment, a demon arrives and kills him. For the following months, a depressed Emma can't do anything but recover from her injury, and she gets disturbed when Isabella tells her she'd like her to be the next mama. Since he can't do this alone, Ray has lost all hope as well, and Isabella considers it a victory. Eventually, Ray's informed he'll be adopted too, so the night before his departure, Emma approaches him to explain she has a plan. However, Ray already has a plan of his own and begins to cover everything with juice to then light it all on fire. As the flames take over the room, Emma cries out and Isabella comes running, confirming that Ray's in the fire with her watch. She tries to put the fire out with an extinguisher, but it isn't enough, and when she turns around she finds Emma gone. It turns out this has been the plan all along and Emma is now running away with the kids. After Norman left, Emma found a note he left with some ideas to escape plus the special pen, so she gave the note to Don and Gilda and they did the organizing with the kids while Isabella kept an eye on Emma, who pretended to be depressed. She couldn't tell Ray because Isabella had been watching him too, and right now he's fine too because Emma used a knife to remove the tracker and threw it in the fire. Everyone else removed the chip in the same way. Unfortunately, they have to leave the really young ones behind, but Emma promises to come back for them later. When they make it to the wall, they threw some ropes across the cliff and begin sliding down using hangers to reach the other side safely. Once everyone crosses, only Emma is left, but at that moment Isabella shows up to stop her. Mama says she used to be naive as well and had a boyfriend that got her pregnant, so she also tried to escape, but standing on this wall and seeing the cliff made her realize there was no hope. Her child died after he was born, and then Isabella worked hard to be the next mama and give the kids a good life. Killing them has always been pretty hard for her, and Emma is her favorite, but Isabella still threatens to cut the rope if Emma tries to escape. However, Emma doesn't believe her, pointing out it's obvious that Isabella taught them how to think ahead because she wanted to see them grow up and now she's proud of their escape. While Isabella denies it, Emma slides down the rope and Isabella raises her knife, but she can't bring herself to do it. As Isabella proudly watches the kids run, she remembers when little Ray sang a song he heard in the womb and made her realize he was the baby she had supposedly lost. Afterward, the kids begin making their way through the jungle. When some of them are too tired or scared to keep going, Emma shows them the pen, which projects a picture of Minerva's owl symbol that will lead them safely to the city. Meanwhile, Isabella goes to see Grandmother and Peter and takes full responsibility for everything that happened, so the leaders punish her by making a demon eat her. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.